Presenting to you Green Tea with Zakki, a chit-chat with some of SmartQ's most celebrated people who have explored, evolved and emerged into leaders, influencers and champions in their roles. I am excited to play host with such extraordinary people who have done everything they can to build a name for themselves at SmartQ and also build SmartQ in the process. Stay tuned for Green Tea with Zakki and follow us on this evergreen journey with the extraordinary people of SmartQ. Welcome back to the 8th episode of Green Tea with Zakki. On today's episode, we have with us two very special guests who have flown down all the way from the UK to meet and greet and interact with the SmartQ family. One of our guests has been with the Compass Group for over the past 10 years and thrives in a creative and forward-thinking environment. Our other guest has been with Compass Group for a little less than a year, but is popularly known as the product guru. I am privileged and honored to welcome Joanna Gell, the Director of Digital Delivery at Compass Group, and Mark, the Director of Product Engineering at the Compass Group. It's an honor to have you guys on the set, and we look forward with great anticipation to learn about your stories and the journey overall and also in India. So welcome Mark and Joanna to the set of Green Tea with Zakki. Let's have a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So how it's going to work today is that we have 3 segments. The first segment is going to be to understand your journey, and it would be about your stories with Compass Group and the interaction with the SmartQ family. The second segment is called Ask Me Anything, which will have curated questions from the SmartQ people who closely work with you. So that's where it could get a bit tricky, but that's where we have a lot of fun as well. And the third segment is called the Rapid Fire. We would love to hear the unfiltered answers without thinking too much and just spitting out whatever comes to your head.
Okay.
Does that sound good and interesting and fun?
Yeah.
Absolutely. A bit scary, but fun as well.
All right. So since I look like a pilot today, let's take off and enjoy the journey and get up to the sky and hope that we have a journey which is a bit of turbulence, but overall great fun.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So I have the first 5 questions that I will ask, and each of you all could take a shot at it. We would begin with you, Joanna.
Yep.
So the first question, Joanna, you've been associated with the Compass Group for over 10 years now. What has your journey been like from the beginning?
I'd say it's been a great journey so far, and actually it's just got better and better over the years. I started as an intern in Compass Group France, so didn't really know where my career would take me. I started in operational marketing, so working very closely on implementation of our marketing campaigns in France, and then I moved over to Group in 2015, so moved from France to the UK and started working for the commercial team, so working very closely on projects with the big global accounts that Compass has. And in fact, it was serendipity that led me to work with SmartQ, and it was right during COVID when the whole journey with SmartQ started, and I was lucky enough to embark on the journey, and it's been fantastic. I'd say, it's been probably the most enriching years so far. It's been the one spent with SmartQ.
That's brilliant. And also I've seen you up close in this past week, where you always put your hand up and also come and spoken to a lot of us. I guess that's the second nature for you to put your hands up wherever you feel like there's an opportunity to contribute in a bigger way. So that's brilliant to know that you've taken up a lot of opportunities during this journey.
I think anyone who works in our industry, in food services, has got a passion for people. You don't end up in food services if you don't like people, or you're definitely not in the right industry. So, I think it's second nature. You've got curiosity generally for the people you work with, and I started very much sort of on the food service operation. So that's part of the reason why I work for Compass.
Fantastic. That's great to know. Mark, could you tell us about your journey?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's been a really great kind of 8 months. So a lot of learning for me. So I don't come from the food industry. So really interesting to see how the kitchens work, how the site managers use the product. And with SmartQ, it's been a really great adventure. Meeting many of the tech leads, the engineers, UX design team, a lot of the operational people, Nithin and Madhu, and the leadership team. And I feel like we're just getting started now into our strategy. So the first kind of few months for me were a lot of learning, working out where the kind of opportunities are, how the team's set up. And kind of in the autumn, we started putting some of that into practice. and now I think we're starting to ramp up. We've brought in some great product managers that are building those relationships with the team.
Yeah.
And yeah, looking forward to the next 1, 2, 3 years. It should be really good.
Brilliant, fantastic. And let me tell you this, I know it's just been 8 months, but a lot of people who've joined the SmartQ product team feel that the interviews with you were very inspiring and they wanted to have that opportunity to work closely with you. So obviously 8 months, but great impact in these 8 months that you've had across Compass Group, and the ripple effect has been at SmartQ as well.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, good to be here.
Awesome. So the next question is, what were your reactions when you first heard about SmartQ and its capabilities?
Well, I was there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So initially it was an idea between two very talented individuals that you all know, Claire and Paul, and then from that idea we had to move it into MVP. And I was part of the team that sort of tested that MVP at our first site in the UK. And I think what's really and I stay firmly of that position. What's always attracted me to SmartQ is just the incredible energy, positivity, and the can-do attitude. There's never a problem. We always just find muddle through and find a solution. And I think that can-do attitude and that energy with the positivity is just incredible ingredients to your success, and it's been fantastic to just watch the team grow.
Yeah.
From a simple idea, we're now present in 14 markets.
Absolutely.
And it's really thanks to the commitment and the energy of the team. So yeah, I'm in awe with what you've achieved. I think we're only at the very beginning, as Mark said. I'm really convinced we can go much further, and I think we all believe in that. So we're in a really good place.
Fabulous. I think we must feel very proud of ourselves to hear this from Joanna, because she's been a part of these conversations from the beginning and has got a lot of ideas bounced off and spoken at the initial stages. So I think we should clap for ourselves to hear this from Joanna, that we never say never, and the can-do attitude is what keeps us going forward. So let's hear a cheer for ourselves.
Yeah.
Amazing. So Mark, over to you. How did you feel when you knew that I have to work with this young dynamic team in SmartQ and lead them and have that kind of a vibe and understand how they work and bridge all of that, bring all together and work towards one goal?
Yeah, it was actually, my first impression was, I think this is a team of people who are catching and driving that wave, that transition from kitchens that have been working in old ways, manual ways, to ways which are more efficient, better for sustainability, more personalized, more loyalty. Some of that stuff we're just getting into, but a lot of it we're already doing really well on. So that was my impression. So I kind of looked at it. I always kind of, I'll wind back a minute. So I actually started consulting for Compass and SmartQ. I was doing that for about 3 months, and then when I was about to move on to my next gig, I was given the opportunity to stay. And it was actually a very, very easy decision. So working with everyone, people I've mentioned before, Nithin and Madhu and Abhishek and Joe, and Anthony in the UK, Paul. I'm missing out loads of other names, but those people I met in those 3 months, I already could tell that these were people who are very entrepreneurial. That's probably one of the biggest things that came across to me. So I've worked for quite a few scale-ups over the years, and I could tell instantly that this group of people are very focused on the customer. As Joe said, you've got great energy.
Yeah.
I could see already, you had, already developed the product into multiple countries. So it's already picked up speed.
Yeah.
And so that's really exciting opportunity for someone like me, who I would say I'm a scale-up person. I could see that you already had that speed, great team of people, and it was an easy decision to come on board.
Fantastic. So you start off as a consultant first for the first 3 months of these 8 months, or was this prior to these 8 months?
Part of the 8 months. Yeah.
Amazing. We're so glad that you took up that opportunity and came on board full time and have taken us steering the ship and guiding us in the direction that we should be going at.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. So it brings me to the third question. I know we kind of addressed some points, but we just want to know as a feeler, how has it been? How has your collaboration been with SmartQ as a whole, the people, the products, and the projects? So if you could just summarize that into some kind of a takeaway for us.
I think when we first started the journey, as I said, it was during COVID, and it's a difficult time for a lot of people. I think it was a really challenging time, but there was never. Even if I think back to that period, I never think of it as a doom and gloom period. I think the team was so committed to the cause. They never let whatever was going on the outside phase that energy, that commitment, that determination to get through. And I think that is it really is just a remarkable quality, for an organization, and it's filtered through not just the people who were right there at the beginning, but through your recruitments over time. And I think that is it's just testimony of the great values that found your organization. It's very powerful, and as you scale, I think those are the most difficult to maintain. But every growth that we witness with SmartQ, those values still remain just as strong. So I'd say just keep at it. Keep those values going, because they're what make you very special as an organization, and I think they're what make your USP. Is that sort of the fact that you call yourself the SmartQ family and genuinely mean that you are a family. A lot of people try and rose tint their HR communication, but you don't. You live it and you breathe your values. So I hope that carries on. It's a pleasure to work with you as a result of it.
Great. On that note, let me introduce you to our core values as well. I don't know if you've had a chance to know about the concept of Rishta that we've built for SmartQ, because we are very family driven and born together. And Rishta is a terminology that means coming together of strong relationships. But Rishta, when broken down, splits into responsibility, integrity, servant leadership, harmonious relationships with all, thinking hatke, agility, and analytical mindset. So these are the 7 core values that you spoke about, values, and that's what we kind of imbibe very personally and take it to the next level and bond together and deliver these results. So speaking of values, I would just thought of mentioning this to Joanna and Mark to know that how we basically have a value system very core to what we do.
And you can really feel it. You can really feel it. And I think also, one is the humility, that sort of is underlying to everything you do. I think we've done some really fantastic things, but it's always done from a position of humility, and there's always an opportunity to do more. I think it's a team, the team recognise that, and that's what just I think gives us everything we need to be extremely successful in whatever we decide to do together.
Fabulous. Mark, would you like to add on to Joanna's thoughts?
I think Joe said it already. I think that's very good. Yeah, we've got the Rishta bands actually. So I think we're both kind of in the process of memorising them all exactly. But really powerful values. Yeah, I think the culture. I do like the phrase that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Obviously, I love strategy because it's part of my job. But I do think culture it permeates deeper. And if you have a really strong culture, it does actually drive your strategy and drive your product. So you've got that. So brilliant.
Great. So culture eats strategy for breakfast, or was it culture eats performance for breakfast? I think the 2 versions of it. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But speaking of which, culture drives a lot of performance, and strategy all plays out when the culture is very strong. Awesome. So moving on to the 4th question. We at SmartQ are looking out for talent and trying to grow the company with great people who could join us, be a part of this mission. If you had the opportunity to talk about SmartQ as a brand to people, to our social media audience, how would you describe SmartQ as a company for people interested in interviewing with us and taking up job opportunities?
I think I'd pick up on all the words I've just mentioned, really. I mean, I think energy, drive, ambition, determination, are all, strong characteristics of the organization. I think the fact that you are a family as well is an extremely attractive value proposition. You're not just signing up to a job, you're signing up to a lifestyle to some degree. I mean, you guys, I see you social, I see you spend time together, I see you develop genuine friendships. And I think that is because you've got such great recruitment, people fit in, and those that don't probably won't stay. So I wouldn't worry too much about those guys.
Absolutely.
I think, you've got a really fantastic energy going with some really lovely bonds that enable, to even go faster. So, I'd say that those words are probably what I would put forward.
How about you, Mark? We are looking out for product designers, product heads, which you'd be aware of.
Yeah.
So what would you say to them and those people you would interview, and how should they perceive SmartQ as a brand in your words?
Yeah, I think for me, there's a really profound mission, which is there's quite a few things that SmartQ is doing for society, which is, yes, we're reducing queues, and yes, we're transforming kitchens from manual to digital, and we're improving our sound system as well. But the biggest one for me, right, is sustainability. Now, if we do our jobs well and we roll out our product suite, our ecosystem, whether it's an app or POS or kiosk, when we roll that out to new sites, we get about 40% reduction in food waste, which for me is incredibly powerful in terms of getting out of bed in the morning. Yes, I love working with great people. I love technology. I love doing innovative things. But I'm worried about the planet, and it's great to work somewhere where you can actually have a big impact on that. We are global. We will be even more global in the future. And for any product managers or any product designers you mentioned, or tech leads or anyone, that if you make a 1% or 2% improvement with a feature you're working on, then you could have a huge effect globally.
Absolutely.
On reducing that. So that's what inspires me. That we're genuinely helping sustainability.
I think also that possibility of interfacing with different markets, different cultures, is a really strong proposition in terms of, you've still got that sort of startup mentality and energy, but then at the same time, we're facing all the challenges of, of the scale up and also the, it's where startup meets corporate world and, working for Compass. So there's a lot to learn as well, and transferable skills to be acquired. So I think that's that is something that's extremely attractive.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing these valuable insights. I'm sure people who watch this video would learn that we are here not just to come in and follow the mission, but also to make large-scale impact across geographies and not be limited to a particular geography. So the cross-collaboration and impact across sustainability and other aspects that we bring to our game is something that you could really live at SmartQ. So thank you, Joanna and Mark, for those great insights. I'm sure people would be very interested in looking at SmartQ as a career opportunity based on what you guys have said.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So bringing us to the last and fifth question of this first segment is, you guys have come across from multiple backgrounds and experiences. We would love to know about your greatest learnings that you've had in these years of being in the business. Anything specific that you'd like to share about your learnings that we could take away?
My learnings, I think, I was talking about it with Mark and Nithin over the weekend. I think when I was younger, I was like, I need a career, I'm desperate for the next step, and I'm desperate for, I need to know exactly what I want to do in life. And actually, I kind of, as I said, it was sort of serendipity that brought me to work in the tech world. Even though I sit more on the operator side, I still mingle with tech, and it is just, just taking up opportunities, challenging yourself, and not necessarily, keeping an open mind. I think, one, it's enabled me to have a very exciting career at Compass because I took on very different roles, but it also takes you in new directions. And, as Mark said, this is opening doors to looking, more closely at sustainability, but also at social impact. There's loads of different areas, and you just so long as you keep an open mind and you keep, do everything you do with authenticity, I think it all works out in the end.
Awesome. Brilliant.
Okay.
Mark, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll just say one point on scaling, which is you can scale with process as you get bigger and things get thrown at you. You get lots of stuff going on. So you can scale with process and you can scale with people. And there's quite a big difference between companies that do one or the other.
Right.
Scaling with process, you can have a lot of meetings. The actual innovation becomes quite detached from the customers. You get more and more projects, and some people will have heard me talk about this a lot, and probably find it a bit boring to hear me bang on about it again. But one thing that can happen is that you get very laid down with process, and you forget to talk to your customers, and you're just building projects. You become a feature factory. And the complete opposite of that, which we're building at SmartQ, which actually a lot of the founders and the people who were here earlier, they were scaling with people, very entrepreneurial.
Right.
So it's just making sure that we keep that entrepreneurial spirit and we scale with people. So we empower people to make those tough decisions, but we empower the people who are closest to the problems to make those. So that's something I've learned from previous scale-ups and something that I'm very passionate about. And yeah, that's something we do here.
And I think it's something we've lived with, throughout the journey with SmartQ, is that we've kind of had to pivot at lots of different points. We started initially and we were basically responding to client requests, not really necessarily being in the driving seat.
Yeah.
And now, we're pivoting again, and now we're taking ownership of the product again and being, less reactive and more intentional. And I think, so it's just keeping that flexibility and moving with the flow that, enables really to sort of, and it's all driven by, at the end of the day, by the customer. So it's really, really important.
Again, some fantastic insights. And basically, Joanna, you spoke about having an open mind to look at the way things are from fresh pair of eyes and basically grasp onto things as they come at you. And Mark, you spoke about having an entrepreneurial mindset and a drive to basically go out there and achieve things that come up on the journey of doing so. So on that note, we come to an end of the first segment, which is to learn about your journeys and stories, with a little bit of turbulence of the sound system on the way to keep us entertained. So round of applause to having them on the set and finishing the first segment of Green Tea with Zakki. We're done with the first segment, and now we're at the more fun and light-hearted segment called Ask Me Anything, which is basically questions curated by the SmartQ team that I was telling you all about. So we would love for you guys to be yourselves here and try to make it as funny as possible, perhaps. Or speak your minds and let's just see where it goes from here. Awesome.
Sounds good.
So the first question is, you've been following our work on social media and looking through our newsletters. What do you feel about our content creation and how do you resonate with the kind of content we're putting out? So would like to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I can go first. Yeah, I think Green Tea with Zakki is very good.
Thank you.
You have some very good guests. I think very good guests. But yeah, I think it's very personal, which I like. You do a lot of features on whether it's a story, of people, right, of their journey. Yeah, that's what I like. You do a lot as well. I think the volume is good. I pretty much see every day there's something else to look at and something else to read. So yeah, I think it's really good.
Great. Let me summarize what Mark said, because he kept saying Green Tea with Zakki is really good. So I think that could be the teaser and that should be the cover of this whole video when we release it, with Mark saying Green Tea with Zakki is really good. I really appreciate that. And we're very happy and excited to have you guys as guests as well on this episode. So thank you for joining us. Joanna, your thoughts?
Well, I'll echo Mark and say that Green Tea with Zakki is pretty good.
You got it.
trying to steal my intro. That's my intro.
No, I just think generally the tone of voice, the energy and the volume of, is really, really impressive, and it just showcases just how energetic the company is. So keep it coming.
Right.
It's really enjoyable. I always enjoy reading the posts, and I think what Mark picked up is absolutely true. It's great to sort of see the faces behind this great organisation and behind all the activities that are being done. So there's some fantastic stories, and we found out earlier this week, just how unique these stories are. So it's great to document them.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Mm-hmm.
The second question is, if you had to pick someone from SmartQ as your mentor, who would it be?
I can't pick one.
You can give us a list. Or a couple
Yeah,
of
there's
names.
quite a few. I don't want to miss anyone out either. But,
I think every single person I work with in
Good
SmartQ
answer.
brings me something,
answer.
And something very unique to them. There's no one I could actually say is more worthy than the other. I really do feel that, I get a lot from every single interaction, either because of the questions that are being brought to me or just because of the conversations that we have and how we can help solution some of the challenges we face together. So I'd say that literally every single person brings something, and that's why I think it's such a great company to work with.
There's a great lesson we've learned from Joanna today, is the art of diplomacy. On how to say the right things at the right time, at the right place, especially when it's going to go on as video for a couple of weeks. She's mastered it. So that's something we take away. Mark, we would like to hear some radical candor from you. And maybe see if you could throw out some few names.
Yeah.
See if you could put yourself out in the...
I'll be less political then. Yes, I'll say Abhijit. I'll say Abhijit. So I've been very lucky over the last 8 months to work very closely with Abhijit. And in terms of if he was to mentor me, I would like that because I'd like to learn how he does what he does with the technology. I think he started as a developer in .NET. I think he started as .NET, and now he's head of engineering. And I really like the way he approaches a problem. I like the way he talks with his team. I like the way he looks. I think he's a great guy. I just love him.
Amazing. Let's have a round of applause for Abhijit. And for the two approaches we witnessed today from both Mark and Joanna on how to tackle a question, one with the angle of diplomacy where you encompass everybody possible, and one where you put out one name and show your candor and have everybody involved as well. Amazing. I was just kidding though, Joanna. All right, so the third question. If you're given a chance to work at SmartQ, what role would you choose?
My role.
Yeah, my role. I mean, well, Nithin's role, I guess. The operator, sort of the bridge between the technology and the operations, I find fascinating.
Yes.
I would say, to answer it seriously, I would say a UX designer. Actually, for the first part of my career, I thought I was amazing at design, and I would always come up with mock-ups and think that I knew it was how to do it. And then after just repeatedly being told by designers that this is rubbish, stop doing designs, that's when I realized that I really wanted to be a designer, but I'm just not good at it. But if I could be, I would do that.
Brilliant. All right. Cool. Coming to the next question, you've guys been interacting with the SmartQ team obviously on a very recurring basis and almost on a daily basis. So what are some of the common funny responses or common responses you hear from the SmartQ team? And if you could share some of those thoughts.
Common responses.
The smiles tell us that they're quite a funny responses. And now if you guys can just let it out.
I had one today actually from Madhu. Don't know where Madhu is. That was if Madhu doesn't like something, there's just silence, which is quite good, which is quite interesting. So now I know if he doesn't, if I've said something that was the wrong answer, then if I get a silence, then I know to change my answer to something else. So that was a funny one.
Okay.
Most of the answers, just very obviously a lot of the interactions are over Teams, right?
Yeah.
And just really friendly, like really happy to help. So I'm trying to think if there's anything funny. Good use of emojis. Some people on the team have very good emoji skills, which I always appreciate an emoji. But yeah, I think can't think of anything particularly unusual.
Yeah, but that's fair enough. We got something out of you. Joanna, how about you?
Yeah.
I think sometimes it is that silence, but it's not necessarily because they've heard something. I think sometimes the challenge that we've got working internationally is some things do get lost in translation. Yeah. So at times, we're all on the same call, and I know that no one's really understood what's being said, but they stay silent, and then generally I have to speak, and at that point I just wish someone would speak up, because it's happened on numerous occasions, and then we'll debrief afterwards, and we'll be like, "Did you get that point?" And they're like, no. Right, okay, we'll have to go back in writing. But yeah, I'd say that's...
So let me explain the theory of awkward silence that we Indians go through. So we struggle to say no. And our awkward silence is basically saying no through silence. Or we hope that people pick it up, but that's what I think happens to us. And that's where the awkward silence comes in.
Interesting.
But it's glad that you guys have got some kind of understanding about that and are reinitiating the conversations to see how it could flow down from there. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we just heard that you all went to Chikmagalur recently. How was that trip? Could you tell us about your experience away from Bangalore?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like at one point we were standing at top of the world. I felt personally like I had one up on Attenborough when we saw two cobras mating. I mean, you don't see that every day.
Yeah. We saw Cobra Sutra, which
Yeah.
is quite good. Which is, I've coined that phrase. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cobra Sutras. Okay.
Cobra Sutra, yeah.
That's a very innovative name.
Yeah. No, it was an amazing trip. Yeah, we saw a waterfall. We went up a mountain. We saw two temples. It felt like a dream, didn't it? It was literally. I mean, I've never been to India before, and it's just stunning, like absolutely stunning.
I reviewed my favorite food list. You see, I've incorporated a few Indian options in there. So
Nice.
yeah, it was great, honestly, and so much packed into 2 days. It was fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's
Speaking
amazing.
of food, Joanna, we've got to know that you're not too much of a foodie and you're a bit conscious about what you eat. I don't know if I got that right. However, in India, with all the hospitality and all the food coming your way, how have you tackled that situation? Or have you just gone at everything you've got and really enjoyed yourself?
I'd say I'm quite a foodie, so I think
Okay.
you got that wrong, Zakki.
Okay.
I do like my food. I love my food. In fact,
Okay.
I think that's why I'm in food services, really secretly. But no, the hospitality has been amazing. Sometimes it is hard to keep up. There's seem to get a snack every hour, so. But it's very enjoyable. I mean, I'll be very sorry when I go back home and nothing comes my way for hours on end.
Yeah.
Mark, about
Yeah, I'm definitely a grazer, so I eat like a little bit every couple of hours. So I think, a few times I've been served a big dish and really enjoyed it, but I've only eaten like a quarter of it or like a half of it. And then I think people think that I didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it. It's just, I'm just a grazer. So, yeah.
So you guys spoke so much about loving your trip to Chikmagalur and the food that's coming your way. What are your thoughts on shifting to India if you'll had the chance to do that?
Yeah, I'll come.
Love to.
Yeah.
You'll come, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
here. Yeah, give me a citizenship. I'm here.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, love everything about it. I think Bengaluru is particularly exciting. There's so much happening. It's so vibrant. The colours, the smells, the energies, just the opportunities at every corner. You can literally you can feel it in the air.
Yeah.
So I think it's an extremely exciting place to be.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Just have to persuade my wife, but otherwise I'll be here. Yeah.
Yeah, you spoke about Bangalore and we echoed the same thing. Like, Bangaloreans have a great energy especially the startup scene over here is very proud and large scale, and we take a lot of pride in setting up great businesses, great technology products, and that's the energy that Bangalore brings to people who come over here, and that kind of transfers and gets passed on to people who come to Bangalore. So glad to hear that you were able to grasp that bit of energy during this trip.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next and the final question of this segment. So Mark, we've heard that you love playing squash and swimming. Did you have the opportunity to do that over here? And can you tell us something about your interest for these sports?
I might have had the opportunity, but I was too busy doing other things actually. So I could have gone swimming, but I haven't. I don't know how else to answer that. No, I haven't played squash, haven't been swimming, but I've been doing loads of other amazing things. But yeah, I can tell you more about squash if you want.
You could probably in a line or two, what does squash mean to you as a sport? Because I know sports connect to people very aspirationally, and how does playing squash, bring a different dimension of you towards work?
Yeah, I'm not sure squash brings out like the best part of my personality because it's very, very competitive, and yeah, it's very, very competitive. So I don't know how else to talk. I've never been interviewed about squash before, but yeah, I love playing squash. It's a great sport. If you haven't played squash, then please play squash. It's a really good sport.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. Cool. So that brings us to the end of the second segment, the Ask Me Anything segment. I hope the questions curated by the SmartQ team kind of got you all thinking and looking at different angles and brought out some bit of candor, diplomacy, and all of that to the table. But I had a great time hearing these answers.
Yeah, I mean,
which brings me to the third and final segment, which is the rapid fire, which has to be quick, fast answers. There's 6 questions. There's no time for thinking and diplomacy.
All right, I'm ready. There's no diplomacy.
No diplomacy at all.
Oh wow. Okay. Oof.
All right. The questions aren't too hard. It's just want to hear the unfiltered versions of yourself and just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So there's 6 questions. We would start with who wants to go first?
I'll go.
All
Go
right. So ladies first, and we begin with Joanna. If you had to describe SmartQ in one word, what would it be?
Energy.
Who's your favorite employee of SmartQ?
Oh, I can't. You can't.
Joanna,
ask me that one.
You can do it.
Oh no! I'd have to do an acronym with the name of everyone.
You can. I know there's a name in your head. It just has to come on. Just bring it up.
I'd have to say probably the one I started my whole journey with. I'll say Madhu, closely followed by Nithin. They're like my dream team.
Madhu and Nithin.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So we got 2 names. Joanna's come a long way from the second.
It was hard.
All right. What comes to your mind when seeing the Bangalore traffic?
Crazy.
All right. One word to describe India.
Colourful.
What is the spiciest Indian food you've had so far?
Ooh. Maybe those mushrooms I had the other day. I can't remember the name. They were delicious.
Mushroom 65.
Oh.
Mushroom 65?
Yes, that's
Mushroom
right.
65.
Do you remember where did you have it?
We had it in Chikmagaluru.
Chikmagaluru.
Yeah.
Which dish comes to your mind when you think of home cooked food?
Oh, I was going to say tikka masala, but I'm obviously home cooked food. I don't know.
Croissant.
Yeah, croissant. Yeah,
All
my
right.
favourite thing.
Amazing. Those were quick answers from Joanna. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Nicely done.
All right, so we'll get going with Mark. Mark's had an advantage of hearing these questions, so we hope that his
same
answers have that
questions.
spunk in them. Yeah. same.
Okay.
So Mark, the first question. If you had to describe SmartQ in one word, what would it be?
Innovative.
Who's your favorite employee from SmartQ?
Abhijit. Same answer. Yeah.
What comes to your mind when you see the Bangalore traffic?
Yeah. Hectic.
One word to describe India.
Vibrance.
What is the spiciest Indian food you've had so far?
I think it was a masala, chicken masala.
Chicken masala.
Yeah. It's very
In
good.
Chikmagaluru or somewhere else?
On the way there. No, wait a second. It's where the temple is.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Which dish comes to your mind when it comes to home cooked food?
A roast dinner.
Roast.
A roast dinner. Yeah.
Fantastic. 6 answers from Mark again. Quick answers, and he just put himself out there. So round of applause for Mark. So before we end this interview, I would like to take a moment to talk about Bangalore's traffic, because so people who come down feel it's hectic and crazy, but that's something that we have accepted in our lives, and we use it as a point of reflection of our lives, because we get stuck for so long. And I was telling Marcos the same thing, that in traffic we make our 5-year plans, We think about the future, the next 10 steps ahead. We prepare sometimes resumes on the way. We do so much stuff that happens in the Bangalore traffic.
Yeah.
So that's what it means to us, and we kind of use it as an opportunity to kind of get things done. So maybe you could look at it from that angle in the next few days you're here, and probably reflect or ponder about something that you haven't really thought about for the longest time.
Well, we've witnessed
Sounds
even that, people do Candy Crush as they drive, which I think in terms of multitasking is
Very
probably
good. Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah. Exactly. Awesome, excellent. So that brings me to the end of this great interview with Mark and Joanna. It was a great pleasure and honor having you guys here and hearing your stories.
Thank you.
We look forward to you guys coming back again to India and having this interview with us again and meet and greet the SmartQ family again. And on that note, I would like to congratulate you guys and hand over these hampers that we have for you, the green tea hampers. So Joanna,
wow.
first for you.
Aw,
Thank you so much
very
for being on the set.
And, well, thanks for having us.
Yes,
Thank
this
you
is for
very
you.
much. Thank you.
And this is for you, Mark.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the set.
Thanks, Zakki. Thank you. It's been a privilege. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Zakki.
Thanks.
Awesome. So, on that note, it's the captain signing off and landing the plane with awkward mic moments and sound system issues. But that's part of life. You just have to walk around. These things are happening. So, thank you for being a great audience. So, let's have a last big round of applause for our guest room.
Thank you. Thank you, Zakki.
Thank you, Zakki.
Well done. Well done.